Hey there, everyone. This is meteorologist Ryan Weekman on June 18th. Thank you very much for joining me. We're doing our first severe weather live Google Plus Hangout. I know many of you are watching here on Google Plus and many more watching over on the Storm Track Weather blog. We're streaming this live. Thank you very much for joining me. Got a little bit of a busy afternoon and evening ahead for us here. It does look like the potential for severe weather is there for later on today and in the overnight hours. So I wanted to give this a chance to give you to ask your own questions and for me to give you a little behind-the-scenes information as far as the forecasting goes. I know many of you out there follow me on Facebook and Twitter. You've been getting information all morning long, but this is kind of a chance for me to talk a little bit more for us here and answer your questions again as well. So let's get right into things for us here. I've had many questions. Most of those have been centered on the timing of the storms and baseball games and certain outdoor activities and when this was going to clear on through. So I'm going to try to get to a lot of those questions for you and tell you about some of the threats that we're talking about. But first off, this is occurring about 1:30 in the afternoon is when we're doing this live Google Plus Severe Weather Hangout. And I want to show you what radar looks like for us here. This is going to be recorded and played back later if you wanted to. So I just wanted to put in mind the timestamp right now. It's about 1:30 is when we're recording this. Here's the very latest as far as radar is concerned. This is a software program that we use all the time on our Sunday night weather hangouts. Those happen about 8:30 every Sunday night here on Google+. This is the radar, and there's a warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service, not for our viewing area. But this shows what the radar has looked like over the past hour or two for us, and you'll notice the main threat that we've been watching coming on through is this Bow Echo line from Grand Rapids, Michigan, just passed through Chicago and is now pushing into northern Indiana. The main thing about this line isn't what it looks like right now, but it's just pushing into very unstable air across northern Indiana as well as northwest Ohio. And when it encounters that much more unstable air, that's when it looks like things could get a little more explosive as far as severe thunderstorm development for us here. In fact, I'm going to show this to you. Look, you can see me actually searching live on the internet. Isn't this exciting? Isn't this what you guys showed up for? This is literally what I do. Go to the Storm Prediction Center. They've got this great website here, and it shows me right here. I'm going to zoom in for you here. I know there's a lot of technical jargon here, but here's northern Indiana, here's northwest Ohio, and southern Michigan. Basically, all you need to know here is the higher the value, the more instability that there is. And you see centered right over northern Indiana and pushing right into northwest Ohio. That's where we do have a lot of instability for this afternoon. And as this line of storm approaches, well, I expect it will continue to develop. In fact, you're seeing some scattered thunderstorms developing out in front of it, and some of those could potentially end up being on the strong side as well. What are we looking at for today? Again, I think the main threat for us for this afternoon is going to end up being strong straight line winds. All right? With that line, you saw that bow echo. Whenever it has that shape like that and it's going in that certain direction like that, it always indicates to us that straight line winds are going to end up being the big thing for us. As we go into the afternoon, evening hours, some of those storms could have some hail along with it. Yesterday in Perrysburg, we had some reports of P to technically it was reported as marble size, but about just smaller than dime size hail was reported. And we could see that once again for today. Certainly could use the rainfall. I'm thinking by the time this evening's over with, we're going to have 2 rounds of thunderstorms. This first one that pushes in by mid to late afternoon and into the early evening hours. So let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock. And it's possible we'll get a few of these pop-up thunderstorms in front of that. But the main line there is around 3 to 6 o'clock coming across northwest Ohio and southeastern Michigan. Here in Toledo, let's say 4 to 6 p.m. looks like it'll end up being the sweet spot for us as far as when the storms push in with those strong gusty winds. Lots of lightning has been reported with this, and that's what's really interesting about this storm is the positioning of it, the way that it's shaped on radar. You can see that bow echo here, and I'll show you this again for you. You can see that bow echo. What we've been noticing on radar is, again, there's that bow echo from Grand Rapids back towards Chicago. What we've been noticing is the efficiency of this storm has actually been shoving the rain up high enough that it freezes into little crystals, and those little crystals colliding with each other, and that ice colliding with each other creates that static electricity that creates the lightning. So these storms have actually been very prolific lightning producers, so that's something that we're going to have to watch out for. I know we have a lot of t-ball games, a lot of soccer games for the kids and things going on out there this evening, so I want you guys to please be smart out there. If you can hear the thunder, please, it's time to probably go in. No need for any unnecessary potential injuries from lightning when we know these storms are coming hours in advance. Again, timing for this, let's say they enter Northwest Ohio, 3 o'clock or so, that's the main line, could see storms out in front of that, and it pushes on through 6 and 7 o'clock. That's the first round. Second round, the energy or the atmosphere will try to re-energize itself a little bit this into this evening, and it looks like you see a second round of rain. And that's great news because it does look like we could get maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain in a few spots where the rain persists for us. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I think that our crops that are out there, our gardens and our lawns, will be able to take care of this. Now, this is our severe weather hangout. This is all being done live. Those of you that are watching on the Storm Track Weather blog, if you want to, there's a link right above here, and it shows my Google Plus page. If you have a Gmail account or anything, you can sign up for this. Totally simple. It takes about 5 minutes. If you're on Google Plus, and some of you are, you're able to ask questions right now, and I'm getting some of these questions. Tim and Joel has asked questions here, and I'm going to be able to answer these live. So if you want to, I'm going to give you a few minutes. You can log on to Google Plus, follow that link that's right up there, and you can go ahead and ask some questions, and I'm going to get around to some of those. But I want to show you also our hour-by-hour forecast, the RPM model. I want to show you kind of what it looks like going into the future is the timing of these storms. So I'm going to switch it back over. That's the cool part about these Hangouts. I can flip the screen around and show you what I'm looking at on radar for us here. So let's flip things around. Again, here's the storms. Let's give the very latest scans. And you can see this is going to be very beneficial rain for the area. Right now, the storms aren't too overly severe, and that's certainly a good thing. In fact, I want to do this. I'm going to do the echo tops on these storms. So I want to see the very latest scans for how big these storms are. Man, there's a big storm over there in central Illinois, really tapping into the instability over there. Most of these storms some of them are approaching 50,000 feet. You see there, Paw Paw, Michigan. Some of these are approaching 50,000 near Rochester, Indiana, and things. And you'll see these flaring up and going down. Man, that's a big storm over there in northern Illinois, though. It's possible we could see that transferring east as well for us. Okay, here's our RPM. This is our what we use as our hour-by-hour forecast right here. I'm going to advance this very slowly for you, and this is actually over the past few hours. It's done a great job of showing the thunderstorm development here across southern Michigan and then back across northern Indiana. And then here we go this afternoon. There comes that line. I know it looks a little disorganized, and there you go by late this evening. This is around 6:30 this evening, so it's a little bit behind, I think, with the timing. But you get the general idea. Here comes the storms from east to west, or excuse me, from west to east for us. And then here's potentially the second round that develops for more rain across the area. I know a lot of you that are watching because you want to know about the timing. I've had a couple of you also comment on Facebook. Certainly appreciate you guys following me on there and watching us on TV. Some of you have asked, I'm just really scared of storms. What type of threat should we be expecting with these storms? And I know a lot of us over the last few years after those Millbury tornadoes have been very concerned about the potential for tornadoes anytime that we have severe storms rolling on through the area. But I got to tell you, the way that the atmosphere is shaped right now and the way that the thermodynamics of the atmosphere are aligned, straight line winds are really going to be the predominant threat for us for today. So that's what we're going to put as number one, along with lightning that we have out there as the big threats. Number two, we'll put as hail. I don't think we'll see very large hail, but many of us could see small hail. It could be one of those deals where nobody sees really big hail, but a lot of us see really small hail sort of thing. Below that, we'll put heavy rains. It's possible we could see some street flooding and some creeks kind of rising out there, but again, we really need the rain, so I don't think that's going to be a major issue. And then below that, we'll put the threat for a very isolated tornado. Anytime we deal with severe weather or strong storms, the potential is there for a storm to rotate enough to cause a funnel cloud or a tornado, but the atmosphere really isn't stacked up well today for us to be overly and widespread concerned about tornadoes. So hopefully that alleviates some fears. And as always, you can see us, we're here in the Storm Track Weather Center. In fact, look at this. We're ready for you guys. We have our green screen ready to go. We've got it all lit up. We're not expecting any severe weather within the next few minutes, but we're always on standby here. We've got our engineers ready to go with the cameras and everything as well. So any moment, if there's severe weather, we're going to let you guys know about that. Of course, we try not to break into programming whenever we don't have to. We try to fill in those commercial breaks for you through the afternoon hours or into the evening, okay? We've had a few moments. I see some of you out there. You're on the Google Plus page now, and you're asking your questions. So I'm going to try to get to some of these, and I'm not reading these in advance. So if I come across the same question, I might just to go on to the next one for us here. So I'm going to go in order with what I've got here. Okay, I know some of you have asked, but I'm trying to go in order with what I've got on Google Plus. All right. Monica asks, how long is the storm supposed to last? I clicked the select button here. I'm not sure if you guys can actually read what the question is. How long is the storm supposed to last? Monica asks. These will be fast-moving storms, but again, I'm expecting 2 rounds of the storm. So let's say any given storm, the first round probably will only last around 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half in a few spots. But the second round could eventually lead a little bit longer. So you add the 2 up, let's say maybe a couple hours of thunderstorms for this evening. The severe weather threat would be right on the leading edge of that first round of thunderstorms. At least the highest threat would be, Monica. Thanks for the question. All right, Joel, you were one of the first one to ask questions. Joel says, I haven't been able to keep up with this storm much. What's the approximate arrival time for Maumee in southwest Toledo? Again, the general time frame I'm trying to give here is somewhere in the 4 to 6 o'clock time frame. Seems like that's a very common occurrence for these storms, but we could have a few isolated pop-ups before that. But the main line is somewhere in the 4 to 6 p.m. time frame for us here. Lisa just asked a question a few moments ago. Let me get to this one for you. Lisa Stork. Lisa says, so do you expect the storms to strengthen as they approach because of the unstable air? Yes, Lisa, I do. Things are really warm and muggy. You can feel it out there, and we're only warming up even more in front of these storms. Also, what do these storms what do these storms do to the atmospheric pressure? I can feel the change in the air. I was wondering why. Yeah, Lisa, maybe it's one of those premonitions. You know, some people say, you know, the animals always know first. Well, humans are animals, and sometimes when you get severe weather or severe weather's getting ready to move into the area, you can almost feel, man, there feels like there's something different in the air. So this could certainly be one of those scenarios. Atmospheric pressures do change as storms come on through, although I was just looking at the latest analysis. There aren't huge pressure fluctuations with this one right now. That could change as we go into the evening. A lot of times when you get a big storm that comes on through, you can get a big drop in temperature or pressure as it comes on through, and then a big rise as it passes on by. So that's certainly a possibility for us. Tim asks, when is the second round going to move in? Get out of work around 10:15 p.m. for us. Tim, looks like that second round could last well into the evening hours, so you may have time. Tim, I know that you're a bit of a storm lover, so thunder and lightning could still be greeting you out there at that time. All right, Debbie asks, how strong do you expect straight line winds to be with this storm? I would guess most of the winds will be somewhere around 40 to 55 miles per hour. For a storm to be classified as severe, the wind gust has to be 58 miles per hour or greater. And I think we'll see some of those wind gusts, but those will be isolated enough. Most spots will see 40 to 55, and then we will see wind gusts in some of the storms approaching 65. I wouldn't even rule out a 70 or 75 mile per hour wind gust, but most of them probably around 60 or 65 will probably end up, Debbie, being the max winds with the storm. It doesn't look like an incredibly well-organized system that's going to push through. It looks like it's feeding on the instability. If it had a little bit of better upper-level support with this thing when it pushed through, we could be looking at a more significant wind threat for us. But right now it looks like we'll be right near and just above that severe weather threshold with some of the stronger storms for us. So, guys, hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. Again, we're going to be watching these storms. Let me give you one last look of radar, and this is you guys can always download the Storm Track weather app. We have stuff there. Of course, if you guys aren't doing it already, Facebook, Twitter, I'm on there as well. I'm always trying to post updates for you. Here comes that line, and you notice as it encounters more unstable air, you'll get storms flaring on up across northern Indiana and southern Michigan. So we'll be watching this as we go through the rest of the afternoon. As always, we'll try to limit our cut-ins into programming. We'll try to do them during commercial breaks if possible. But of course, we'll give you the necessary information as needed through the evening hours. We'll be there. We'll be here along with the rest of the Storm Track weather team. Thank you guys very much for watching.